Okay, so this is the menu. It's, as you can see, just 1 week, and this would be week 2. Now, this particular client has actually 4 weeks that I have prepared, but at this point, we're just focusing on the first 2 menus to try to simplify things. It goes basically day 1 through 7. Day 1 happens to start on Sunday. Doesn't really matter as long as the menu is followed, but typically day 1, day 2, and so on. This is the general overview of what you're going to see for that day. So if you are on night shift, for example, and you know that it's going to have scrambled eggs for breakfast, it's something that you might consider preparing. That way when this particular client wakes up, he'll have that already prepared for him, and that might help out the day staff. So, as you can see, this is a general overview. Now, in the same menu book, you're going to see these pages. These are basically an expanded or more detailed of that particular day, a detailed menu of that day. So while this does not give you any portion size, this does. These should match. If they don't, there might be an error, so let me know. But in this case, scrambled eggs, 1/2 cup. If you're using the egg beaters or something like egg beaters, if you don't know what that is, it's basically a liquid egg substitute that you can find where the eggs are. If you're just using regular eggs, typically 1/2 cup represents about 2 whole eggs. And as you can see, the rest of that, everything is listed here. Turkey sausage, doesn't matter if it's round or if it's, well, this says links, but if it was round, you could do 2 round ones, two pieces. Whole wheat toast, if he wants it with a little bit of margarine on it, that's fine. If not, just without anything is great. As you can see, very simple. In the past, he did drink coffee. He drank a lot of coffee, so that is allowed here, but if it's not available and he doesn't request it, that's not really that important. Snacks are really up to if this client is really hungry. There is a separate section in the back of the menu book for snack ideas. And as you can see, lunch and dinner are here as well. Now, some things that looks like a recipe, there's probably one attached to the menu. In this case, you have the menu right here. So it says grilled cod with spinach and tomatoes. This is how you make it. And as I said earlier, we will have a separate video on how to actually prepare a recipe for those that are either a little rusty or really don't know how to do that. This particular recipe is very easy to follow. And regarding food items, there is a list that's been prepared. So if we go back to this week right here, there's a list that's been prepared. And this is basically all that you're going to need within that week. So it's divided in, and it says week 1 grocery list. It's divided into categories. So to make your time easier in the grocery store, so when you're in the meat section, this is what you get. Your dairy, which is eggs, margarine, cheese, etc., etc. There might be a couple different sections in the grocery depending on where you shop. This grocery section is basically everything in your aisles, like not around the outside of the store, the outside perimeter of the store. This is like in the middle. So your cereals, it's going to be your beans, cornbread mixes, cakes, things like that, spaghetti. So that, as you can see, is all right here. Your bakery section, it could be in grocery as well, but basically your breads and your other baked products. This would be more your commercial baked bread, so you don't really have to buy anything fancy. Cheaper the better, as long as it's good quality. And then your produce is all your fruits and vegetables, your fresh fruits and vegetables. On the other side, there's a separate frozen food section. There are fruits and vegetables that you can buy frozen, depending on what the recipe calls for or what's on for that day. Sometimes frozen foods, the shelf life is a lot longer, but when you thaw it out, it may not be the best. And then there's even different spices and seasonings here, and then any additional non-food items you might need, like a aluminum foil or a food thermometer. So all of this is listed, so that way you should have everything you need to make what's on this menu. Now, I also made what's called a par level list. So you can use this or you can use this, it doesn't really matter. But it's got everything on that the other list had as well. As you can see, there's a couple more pages to this. But what you want to do, for example, look and see if you've got any breakfast turkey sausage. Let's say you got a half a box left. You can write half a box there. If you look at the menu on the list and it does require a box, then you basically put down what you need to buy from the store based on what you have on hand. And that's just going to depend on what's on for the menu for that week. So if you're going once a week, you always want to look ahead at the second week. As you can see, there's no turkey sausage on here, so half a box is probably going to be just fine. So this is really, really simple. Doesn't take very long to get used to this. If you follow this method, you should have everything on hand that you'll need. Another video we'll talk about food storage as well. That's equally important, because when you make some of these recipes a lot of times yield more than one serving. So you should be able to either cut these down based on the serving size, or you can freeze some of this if it's freezable. A salad generally is not freezable. It's not going to last long, but there are ways to substitute items on the list to still be in compliance with the menu, and that will be talked about in another video as well.